Yashodanandana Braja Janaranjana Jamunatira Vanachari Jamunatira Vanatari Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Jaya Radha Gokula Nand Radha Gokula Nand Radhe. Jaya Sita Ram Lakshman Hanuman, Jaya Sita Ram Lakshman Hanuman. Jaya Gaura Nitai, Gaura Nitai, Gaura Nitai, Jaya Gaura Nitai. Jaya Jaya Prabhupada, 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 Jaya Jaya Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki. So thank you everyone for coming today to Bhaktivedanta Manor's cold, wet evening. But so how's everyone's new year been so far? So good? Yeah? Okay. So I think this verse that we're going to talk about today is quite apt for beginning of this new year for us all. So we're reading from Bhagavad Gita as it is, and I'm going to be talking from chapter 6. This is the actual interesting topic that we're going to start. Chapter 6 starts with what's known as Dhyana Yoga. So the first 6 chapters, obviously we all know that Bhagavad Gita is divided into 18 chapters. The first 6 chapters are about Karma Yoga, doing your duties, what should one do, and what he shouldn't do. So that's all there. And then comes the middle part. Then you've got the ending, which is Jnana Yoga, which is knowledge, But in between both of them is the whole essence of the Bhagavad Gita, which is known as Dhyan Yoga, or is what we call is Bhakti Yoga, the path of Bhakti. Because quite often we think of Bhakti as something very complicated, very something that I can't do, it's not for me, I'm not at that age yet, what I should be doing. But luckily for us, when we start reading about Bhakti Yoga, it kind of falls into place of what we're doing with our everyday lives and how we can incorporate Bhakti Yoga into our everyday lives. There's so many different aspects of Bhakti Yoga, but luckily, thanks to our founder, Acharya Srila Prabhupada, he's made it so easy for us that we can do this. So this is a very interesting verse that we'll read today. It'll sort of hit home with some of us. Hopefully it should do. But the kind of things that we'll deal with every single day and how we can improve on those and how they actually relate to our everyday lives and what can we gain from this. So hopefully this should be some sort of small insight for us all. So we say our prayers first. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. So reading from chapter 6, text 4. And it goes something like this. Yada hi nindriya artheshu na karmashu anusajjate sarva sankalp sannyasi yoga rudhas tajjate idahi nindriyartheshu na karmashu anusajjate sarva sankalp sannyasi yoga rudra tadochayate. Okay, so translation by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. A person is said to be elevated in yoga when, having renounced all material desires, he neither acts for sense gratification nor engages in fruitive activities. The purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. When a person is fully engaged in the transcendental loving service of the Lord, he is pleased in himself, and thus he is no longer engaged in sense gratification or in fruitive activities. Otherwise, one must be engaged in sense gratification, since one cannot live without engagement. Without Krishna consciousness, one must always be seeking self-centered or extended selfish activities. But a Krishna consciousness person can do everything for the satisfaction of Krishna and thereby be perfectly detached from sense gratification. One who has no such realization must mechanically try to escape material desires before being elevated to the top rung of the yoga ladder. So, I'll try and speak something else. I'll need all your blessings. I'll try and interpret into my own words whatever I can, my own understanding, and hopefully it should make some sense to you all, and hopefully you can always take away something from this for this new year. Om Jnanatimrindasya Jnananjala Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitan Yena Tasmai Sri Guruve Namah Sri Chaitanya Manobhistam Staptam Yena Bhutya Swayam Rupam Kodamayam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Sri Guru Sri Yuta Padakamanam Sri Gurum Vaishnava Cha Sri Rupam Sagratam Sagra Vilatham Tam Sajivam. Jai Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Dvaita Gadadhar Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Ki Jai. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare Hare. So, a quick, just a word-by-word translation of the verse. So, yada, when, he, certainly, na, not, indriya eshu, in sense gratification, na, never, karameshu, in fruiting activities, anu, sajjate, necessarily engages, sarva sankalpa, of all material desires, sannyasi renounces, yoga rudra, elevated in yoga, tada, at that time, uchyate is said to be. So, literally, we have. What do we mean by when we say a person who's in yoga rudra? What we're trying to say is, like, from the gist of that verse, we come to the point where, from the purport, the gist of it is like, it's in threefold, if you think of it. So Srila Prabhupada is saying, one who's always in the service of the Supreme Personality of Godhead is always pleased in himself. He's not wanting to have anything else. He's not desiring anything else but to serve the Lord. You see so many devotees here at the manor, all they want to do is just serve the devotees and serve the Lord. Any preparations, anything they do, it's all for the pleasure of the Lord. Therefore, the devotees, that person, is not engaged in anything for sense gratification. He's not there to please his senses. He's not saying, oh, I think I like this, oh, I'd like to have this, or I want to do this for my own senses. No. He's there to please Krishna, because there's no fruiting activities that he's involved in, because he doesn't want to gain anything. Whatever he wants to do is for the pleasure of Krishna. Because sometimes we always think, we're always trying to please ourselves, and how can I please myself? But no, the idea of like let's say a sannyasi is when you've detached yourself from everything. So Krishna consciousness person is doing everything for Krishna's satisfaction. Like if he's making a preparation, like when we're cooking for Krishna in the deity kitchen, every time we make a preparation, we're always thinking, how can we make it better? Or like if you have to present it to Krishna, how can we present it in such a way that it's so nice for him that he appreciates it? And then we want to take that step further, improve on every kind of service that we're doing. We're not attached to it. I don't think that, oh, I've done a really good service today. Like sometimes when we're in the deity kitchen, we're cooking, and we're thinking, you know, I've got this planned out so well. I know what I'm doing. That's your own ego that comes into place, and you're thinking, like when we do breakfast in the morning, we have literally an hour and a half to make 6 or 7 preps. And we're pushed against time. But at the same time, you're pushed against time, but you want to make something which is perfect for Krishna. And when you get that ego come inside you, you think, yes, you know, I can do this. I've done this so many times. But Krishna is always testing us. He's saying, okay, if that's what you think, okay. There's always something that comes in the way. And quite often you see what will happen is sometimes the milk will boil over, then you've got to start making the milk again. The halwa will sometimes get burnt, so you have to make another set of halwa. All in the space of an hour and a half, and you don't really have so much time to do it in. But when you're focused on Krishna, that you're doing everything for him, for his satisfaction, your senses are completely detached and just focusing what you're doing for Krishna. That is what we call a person in Krishna consciousness. You're not thinking about yourself, because you're not thinking, I am the one in charge of what I'm doing here. No, you're saying Krishna is in charge. And I'm of I medium through which I'm preparing everything for him. Because, to be honest, I never knew how to make anything, but now I've managed to make a few things since being in the deity kitchen. So I've learnt a few bits and pieces. But obviously, there are times, even when I fail, but no, it's one of those learning practices. And then you think, attachment, we think so much of attachment. Now, how many of us go on holidays? I'm sure there's quite a few of us go on holidays. We'll fly out to different places. I see so many people flying out every single day because I work at the airport. I know what it's like. People coming and going. And it's, trust me, it's you see a lot of people coming and going. So when we go on holidays, we go on holidays to please ourselves. Sometimes we'll go on religious pilgrimages, but then sometimes we go on holiday just to please ourselves, just to take a break from everything. And then, like when you open a brochure, we always see, oh, you have pictures, oh, that's a nice place to go to, because it initiates the senses. You know, you think, oh, that's a nice place I can go to. I can go and relax here. I can do this here. You see all these various pictures in the brochures that attract us to those things. That's a normal person that we would do those sort of things. But a person in Krishna consciousness, like when you take the example of Srila Prabhupada, he flew 14 times around the world, and he traveled at the age of 65. So, right, we go on holidays. Srila Prabhupada went flying on airplanes as well. But we don't actually do it for Krishna consciousness purpose. We sort of like do it for our material sense enjoyment with Prabhupada. He went on a mission of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, of what his spiritual master said, that there will be my temple will be in every town and village of the world. So he went on a purpose for Krishna. He's, the remote places like Hawaii, Japan, Australia, Fiji, remote Mexico, South America. So he's been to all these different places, and one would think, like, you go to Rio, you go to Mexico, you go to Japan. What's the idea of someone able to preach Krishna consciousnesses? But that Srila Prabhupada took the effort to go around to all these different places. But it wasn't for himself, but he was doing it for Krishna. So you have the difference there when you do something to please Krishna and not yourself. And when you do something like that, Krishna will take care of whatever that you're trying to do. So the idea was, when Srila Prabhupada, he didn't put himself in the middle, he put Krishna in the middle of all these activities that we were doing. And he's a well-wisher for everyone. He's thinking, well, you know what? This Krishna consciousness is so sublime, it's so important for everyone. I don't want to keep it for myself, but I want to give it to everyone. Everyone should benefit from this. So, what's the process of this Krishna consciousness? So we all also need to become, like the saying, Yoga Rudras. We need to elevate in ourselves in yoga. And how do we elevate in ourselves in yoga? Because we know yoga means to link the mind with Krishna. But there are 8 processes of yoga. There's yama, abstinence. Niyama is observances. Asana is what we're all doing now. Sitting down, that's one of the processes. Pranayama is our breathing. Pratyahara is withdrawing your senses. Dharana, concentration. There's dhyana, meditation, and then finally there's samadhi. So when you think of it, there's yamas. There's some certain rules and regulations. Niyama, observances, like when you break down each category, there's 5 categories in each. I won't go through them because quite in each of those stages. But I'll just pick like 1 or 2 now, that we do now. Asana, we're in a sitting position. Yoga, very commonly nowadays, we hear about yoga. A lot of people are doing yoga, which is part of the process. When you think of it, now we're sitting down here for half an hour to listen to a class. But in previous yugas, people used to sit down for days, weeks, months, and years, but they meditated on the inside, on the Paramatma who's inside, residing in the hearts. So you can see, asana is not a very easy thing to do. For us to sit here something like half an hour, 40 minutes, it becomes difficult, let alone sit for years and years and months. Then pranayama, breathing. Breathing is also difficult. Breathing is not easy. Have you ever tried breathing when you're running? Your breaths are very shallow, you're taking deep breaths. You must control the breathing. Even when you're angry, your breathing changes. So when a sannyasi, when you talk about sannyasi, he controls his breathing. Even like when breathing, there's 3 stages of breathing. You breathe in, you hold for a little while, and then you breathe out again. And then when you think of, from the Bhagavatam, Dhruv Maharaj, he stood on his toe. I can't remember how long it was, but he stood for a long time on his toe. That's one asana. I mean, we could just about stand on a toe, 2 feet for like an hour, 2 hours, but he stood for many, many years. And then pranayam, breathing. He stopped his breathing for a certain length of time, which is so difficult to do. And pratyahara, he even stopped eating, like he was only eating once a week, then once a month. So this is how it comes down to. And our concentration, in Kali Yuga now, our concentration is limited. I can't remember offhand, but I think his Keshav Maharaj was just talking the other day, our concentration limit for anything is literally a couple of minutes, if that. Our concentration, we're also distracted straight away. Now, why are we distracted? How does it happen that, we can't sit down, we can't concentrate, our senses, because, see, we have what we call senses. Indriyari artheshu, sense gratification. Because look, our senses are constantly looking, So we have the eyes, the ears, the nose, skin, and the tongue. These are our main senses. And every day we are bombarded with so much information, and our senses get so confused. We think, okay, I'll take 5 minutes to read the Bhagavad Gita, and straight away, the mind is gone somewhere else. Shri Radha Gokul Bhagwan Ji ki, Sita Ram Lakshman Hanuman ki, Shri Gaur Nitai ki, Srila Prabhupada ki jai. So our eyes get distracted. So many things, you're driving along, you could be listening to Kirtan, but you see these big billboards advertising this is the latest phone now, You've got an iPhone 12, now's your chance to get an iPhone 15. It's the latest thing out. It'll improve your life. You can send emails better, take better pictures. So you're thinking constantly, I think I need to get that. Your ears, we're listening to so many things. Our ears are constantly bombarded with pleasing things and not non-pleasing things. Sometimes you might hear people shouting and screaming at you. And sometimes you might hear pleasing things like when a child is with a mother, she'll say pleasing words. Or when you're listening to Kirtan, you're listening to lecture, something pleasing that evokes something inside you. You say, I want to do more of this. And then you have the nose. We smell certain things especially like when you have you can have pungent, really pungent. Sometimes you go to these restaurants or these places, you get this really strong, pungent smell. You think, the moment, you just want to walk out from there. And then at the same time, you have a very pleasing smell when someone offers you flowers or something nice. It's a very pleasing smell. So that's attractive. Then you have the tongue. Tongue, again, taste. We have bitter foods, sweet foods. Not only that, but the way the tongue, you can, sweet words and harsh words, they're all coming from within our senses. They all affect what we do. And they all affect all of those stages of yoga. So now how can we control these senses? It's difficult to do. But thanks to Srila Prabhupada and Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, they made it so easy for us, especially in Kali Yuga. They said, listen, we know you guys find it hard. Srila Prabhupada said, you guys find it so hard, to follow these principles. But you know what? If you can just follow these 4 regulative principles, no meat eating, no gambling, no intoxication, no illicit sex, you become a perfect human being. So what we're trying to become are human beings. We are beings, but we're trying to become human beings to better ourselves. Because if you think of it, animals, they will eat, they will sleep, they will mate. What's the difference between them and us then? we're supposed to be much more elevated. We're supposed to be able to, we have the capacity to think. So, Srila Prabhupada has directly shown us that on this path of Bhakti Yoga, we can follow these processes. You follow the 4 regulatory principles. He's telling us, chant 16 rounds a day. 16 rounds of what? We find it hard. 16 rounds, you think, oh my God, 16 rounds. Well, what is that 16 rounds? The 16 rounds are the Hare Krishna mantra. Why? Because we're constantly asking Lord Krishna to engage us in this service. What service? We want to use all our senses in this service. If you think of it, we're chanting, we're using our tongue, we're chanting His name, we're asking Him to engage in this service. We're using our ears to listen. Am I chanting correctly? But what happens when you follow these 4 regulatory principles? So you want to improve your life, you want to become better and get away from these distractions. You know, we hear all about all these gadgets, all these things that come out, you know. You want to have to replace your phone, you need to replace your car, like Ulis was now. Everybody scrambled to get new cars. So many new gadgets. We're trying to please ourselves, but what we're trying to do is actually please our senses. Like, oh yes, I need to have that new phone because my old one's not working. I need to get a new car. Yes, it's good, you can get those, but try to use those in the service of the Lord. And sometimes people think, well, how can I do that? How can I use it for the service of the Lord? So when you think, sometimes today, we've all driven here to come to the temple, yes? So if you got a car, you drive in the car, you come to the temple, you take darshan of Shri Shri Radha Gokula Nandaji. You're using it in His service, at least He'll say, yes, you know what? Oh yeah, so-and-so is coming to the temple to take my darshan. He came in his car, he's brought his family with him, which is good. So this is like piety that goes into your spiritual bank account. He makes a note of it every single day that, oh yeah, they came today, I'll make a note of it. They came at this time, they stayed for so long. So that's being banked into your spiritual bank account. And sometimes we think, is it really possible that we have a spiritual bank account? But don't forget, there is, but see, scientifically we're always asking for proof. I need to see this, I need to see the proof of this. The thing is, some things, when you go through the Bhagavad Gita, it tells you, these are the rules and regulations of life, this is what you're meant to follow. And when you read the Srimad Bhagavatam, it gives you the essence of people who actually live by this and their own examples of how they followed the rules and the regulations and how they advanced. So all this spiritual bank account does exist, but it's not that we can access it like through an ATM. No, it's not like that. It goes into Krishna's, keeps it account where He is. Then He'll give us interest, with good interest if you've been good. And if you've been bad, He'll say, look, guys have been bad, I'll give you another chance. Try again. That spiritual bank balance will remain as it is. Try again. He gives us many chances. So we need to give up all these attachments. How do we give up these attachments? Because what we need to do is we start focusing on controlling the mind, because the mind can either be your friend or it can be the biggest of your enemy. It's like in the morning, how many times we try and wake up in the morning, you put your alarm on. I'm guilty, I'm one of them anyway. I put my alarm for 3 o'clock in the morning, and I say, you know what, I always hit the snooze button. Another 5 minutes, then another 5 minutes, then another 5 minutes. So you're prolonging yourself. You're listening to your mind. The mind's saying, yeah, don't worry, it's only 3 o'clock. Give yourself another 10 minutes, don't worry, you wake up. Give yourself another 10 minutes. And before you know, half an hour's gone, or sometimes an hour is gone, and you think to yourself, oh my God, it's already 4 o'clock. So you're listening to the mind. You want to you want to overcome your mind. You need to say, hey, listen, I'm in control. You're not controlling me, I'm controlling you. I need to get up for a reason. If my alarm's set for 3 o'clock, I need to get up at 3 o'clock for a reason. Like a lot of us will come here for Mangal Arati at 4:20 in the morning. So you need to be up and here, come rain or shine. You need to be here by 4. So like if we're working, we need to be at a certain place at a certain time. This all forms part of the rules and regulations. You have to regulate yourself with everything that you're doing. You have to regulate your sleeping habits. I remember my Guru Maharaj, Bhaktivedanta Manor, used to say that if you went to bed before 10 o'clock, it makes a huge difference on your sleeping. He goes, that 2 hours is the equivalent of 4 hours sleep. He goes, if you go to bed before 10 o'clock every single day, he goes, I can guarantee that you'll be up by 2 in the morning. And obviously, we went on a couple of retreats with him, and where we were, he was actually, we were on the lower room, he was in one of the rooms above us. I kid you not, 1:30 in the morning, he'll be up and doing his rounds, and before 4 o'clock, his rounds would be finished. And I used to say, Maharaj, but how did you get into the habit? He goes, I made it a point that by 10 o'clock, 5-10 minutes, I'll be gone to bed. And then I would wake up at 1:30 automatically every single day, come rain or shine. But he said to me, he goes, when I was living in the Brahmachari ashram, he goes, oh my God, I found it so difficult. He goes, I could never wake up early in the morning. And you know what? He goes, the person I was in the dormitory where he was, he goes, I could never wake up on time. And one of the brahmacharis there with me, he says, look, time to wake up. We got Mangalarti. He goes, yeah, another 5. He goes, no. He just literally used to pull my pillow off. I used to fall off on the floor. I would have to get up because that went on for about literally 4 or 5 days. Then I got into a habit automatically. I'd have to get up. And that was it. So you build up this routine, how it's done. So we need to control our mind. We need to make the mind our friend, because if we don't make the mind our friend, what's he going to be? If you don't have a friend, what do you have? An enemy, yes? So why do we need to create another enemy for no reason? Yeah? So the thing is, the more friends we have, the more enjoyable your life is. And why not make the mind your friend? Because once your mind becomes a friend, then Krishna will also become your friend. And all the devotees will become your friends. And before you know, you have a massive family. So you're not on your own. Krishna, you come to a temple, you become a part of a very big family. Then you come to this temple, you got this family. And if you go anywhere else, you got another family. I've got a friend of mine now who is he literally got married about 2 weeks ago. And his wife's from Slovenia. And he goes, I was so taken aback by all the devotees there. He himself is a devotee, but he goes, the family just gets bigger and bigger and bigger. And this is a good thing. When you take into Krishna consciousness, you don't realize how big your family is. Many years ago, we went to Mexico. We just landed and we thought we were going to try to go to different places that Srila Prabhupada's been. So we went to Mexico. And there, in Cancun, there were devotees. And there was like, wow. It's amazing how far and wide all these devotees are spread. And you don't feel lost and you don't feel away from home. Because those devotees will welcome you with open arms and say, hey, Haribol, come on, let's talk about Krishna. And this amazing thing was, it was a Saturday, they have this Govinda shop and restaurant. And he goes, you know what, since you've come from England, there's a few devotees here. He goes, you know what, don't worry about the shop, we'll close the shop, let's just have Harinam together. And that's the beauty of devotees, when you come into the association of Lord Krishna and his devotees. So that's how amazing it is. You train your mind in such a way that all his devotees, they become your friends. So we need to work on this process of controlling our mind. Yoga Ruddha, we want to elevate ourselves in the yoga. So how do we elevate ourselves in this yoga? It's difficult initially, but like Srila Prabhupada said, you can either make it easy for yourself or you can make it really hard. It's like when you're learning to drive. You can either go on so many YouTubes, they tell you do this, this is how you do this. It's fair enough, you're watching the YouTube videos, it tells you how to drive. But it's until the moment you actually sit in the car and you think, right, what do I do now? So you need someone to guide you, right? So that's why it's so important to have a guide. And so also in spiritual life, you need a guide. And that guide is what we call a guru. Because guru, he shows you the path. Because he's lived this life. He's living this life. He's a living example. Srila Prabhupada is a living example. He's lived through this. He's controlled. He's teaching you how it can be done. And then we see our spiritual masters. And trust me, when you get told off, you get told off. And I've been told off quite a few times, and in a good way. But it's a learning lesson. It's a learning curve. We have to go through a learning curve. Quite often he used to say to me, because I used to work at the airport, and he often used to ask me to make flight bookings for him, which I did. And I used to think, oh, do you know what? This is a good flight, and that's a good flight, and that's good. That'll suit him nicely. He goes, Rajesh, why are you using your own mind? Why do you listen to what I want to do? Why do you listen to what I'm saying to you? If you listen to me, what I'm telling you to do, first of all, you won't go wrong. Secondly, it'll please me. And thirdly, it'll please Krishna, because I'm not doing it for myself. I used to say, Maharaj, if you're flying today, you want to stop here for 2 hours, then go on another 9-hour flight, and then stop there for literally 2 hours and carry on. I said, why don't you break your journey? Like, you fly from point A to point B, stay there for like 5-6 hours, and then carry on. He goes, no, but I said, but you're just like one of us. He goes, but I don't feel tired. I don't need to please my senses. I'm here to please Srila Prabhupada and Krishna. That's the mission I'm on. And he goes, listen to what I'm saying, do as I'm saying. He goes, if I tell you otherwise, just do as I say. And after that I said, okay, thank you, I'll do that. I won't do anything else. So that's why we need a guru who will guide us, who will teach us. But how do we find a guru? You need to go inside yourself. You need to pray. When you come to the altar, Sri Sri Radha Gokul Nanji, pray to me. You say, look, I need to progress on my spiritual path. Please show me. Please help me. Because the Lord resides in our heart, and when you stand in front of Radha Gokul Nanji, He actually listens to you. And sometimes people say, well, how is He going to listen to you? It's whenever you have anxiety, what do? Oh God, something's happened. Why? Why do we say, oh God? Because we know there's a higher power that's in charge of everything. But here, we know Krishna. Everything emanates from Krishna. He categorically says it in the Bhagavad Gita. That everything emanates from me. So if everything comes from Him, even the difficulties that we're having come from Him, but if we ask Him nicely, He can dissipate those miseries for us. See, the thing is, He'll please us in ways that we find sometimes difficult to comprehend. Sometimes we might come across a situation where what we didn't expect. But why? And sometimes you think, why did that happen? But there's probably a logic or reasoning behind it that we don't understand. So what do we need to do? We need to improve ourselves, spiritually train our mind. We need to spiritually train our mind every day as much as we can. So we don't need to be like these yogis to sit in mountains or isolate ourselves from everyone and just lock ourselves in a room and that's it. No. Srila Prabhupada and Chaitanya Mahaprabhu have given us this formula. The formula is simple. Everyone here has the opportunity to elevate themselves spiritually. It's not hard to do. We all live at home. We come to a temple, we have a home, we have a house, we have a room, yes? Dedicate one room for the Lord. If you have a chance, have some deities. If not, we always got pictures of the Lord. Keep the pictures of the Lord there. Okay? So you create a nice temple environment. Serve your deities. Krishna says, He doesn't want anything fancy. Patram pushpam phalam toyam. Fruit, leaf, flower, water, whatever you offer to me. But offer it with love, with sincerity and love. Because it's like when we have guests or someone come around to our house, would you just say, oh, here's, get them to sit down, oh, here, there you are, that's your, have it. I'm serving you. And you wouldn't just throw it in front of them, just, here, take it. No, you present it nicely, it looks nice, pleasing. You're treating your guest like a king is coming to your house. In a similar way, we treat Krishna. He's the ultimate supreme personality of God. So we want to please him. We want to treat it nicely to him. So you develop a mood of service, and you're serving him nicely. He will reciprocate. He goes, this devotee is serving so nicely. And it doesn't mean anybody in the family can do this. You have to take the first step. You take the first step, and slowly you get into the habit. We say prayers. I'm sure everybody prays at some time during the day. When we come into a lot of difficulty, everybody says, oh God, Lord, please help me. Even that short prayer, we are praying. Recite a few prayers. I think the one that I started was Lord Nrsimha prayer. They pray because they say, Lord Nrsimha is there for protection. And that's at least one prayer that you can all recite every single day at home. It's not hard. It's quite simple. But once you get the flow of it, you're asking Lord Nrsimha, who is also another form of Lord Krishna, to just protect you every single day. And then you can sing kirtans for the Lord. The Lord doesn't want you to be a fantastic singer, right? You don't have to be a top-back singer, but he wants to see how you're singing from the heart. That's what he wants, And then when you're cooking, when you're going out shopping, you buy bits and pieces. You say, I can cook this for Krishna. I can make a nice feast for him that he'll enjoy. So you're cooking for him. In this way, all your senses are engaged in the service of the Lord. So your eyes, you made a picture. You got a picture or deities of the Lord. Your eyes are constantly focused on him. You're seeing him. You're serving him. Offering, you're making offering, cooking for him. You're saying prayers to him. Your tongue, So you're singing, you're using your tongue for kirtan. And your prayers, you're listening as well at the same time. So all your senses are engaged in that service. And I think you get everyone in the family involved. And when you get the family involved, because your whole focus is not around me, and I. But the focus is keeping Krishna in the center of whatever you're doing. And then his mercy will flow. But he will give you what's good for you. There are moments when he'll give you like wake-up calls. You get little jolts in life. Oh my God, what's that? Okay. It's just to remind you, what? Nothing is smooth sailing. There's always going to be bumps. Like when you're driving. You could be driving on a smooth road and all of a sudden you get these bumps. Just to wake you up saying, the road is not always perfect. So in a similar way, the spiritual path is not always smooth sailing. You're going to have little knocks, little jolts to wake you up. But why? Why does it do that? Because Krishna is saying, I want to test how much faith this person has in me. Does he have faith in me, or is he just thinking, really? Will Krishna really protect me? Will he really look after me? Does he have my interest? Is he looking after my interest? No. He'll give you these jolts, and you think, Krishna, you know what? You can do what you like. It's up to you. But you're not going to break my faith in you, because I have come so far. I have faith in whatever you're doing. It's for my benefit. It'll benefit me and help me on my spiritual path. So, as we're still in the new year, it's early time. We can still make a resolution. I know 3 days have gone. You might have missed 3 days, but we still got the next 362 days. So what do we need to do? So what we need to is, like we're upgrading our phones and our gadgets and so many other things, we need to upgrade our consciousness. We need to upgrade our consciousness that we can serve and listen more to the Lord, involve him more into our life. Okay. Disassociate from our previous things that we've been doing. You want to move on. You want to advance spiritually. You want to come to that stage of Yoga Rudra. You want to come to that stage where you think of Krishna, you're driving, you think of Krishna. Yes, we work. Everybody has to work. But once you come home, you can focus on Krishna, serve Krishna in any capacity you can. Train your mind to serve Krishna. There was, if I can find it, which is it? Because what Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita chapter 6, later on, verse 35, Krishna says, Lord Krishna said, O Matyam son of Kunti, it is undoubtedly very difficult to curb the restless mind, but it is only possible by suitable practice and by detachment. So we need to detach from the things our mind is saying us do, but we have to say, no, I don't want to do this, I don't want to do this because this is not good for me. I need it to be on my spiritual path. So, like what they used to say was, I can't remember who said it, I can't think of the name now. Like, when you wake up in the morning, I'm just trying to think who said it, it's going around my head, that you'd beat your mind with a broomstick 100 times, and in the evening, with a shoe on your mind. That's because our mind is constantly. So we need to focus in the morning, like you see. In the morning, we focus our mind with the broomstick of the Srimad Bhagavatam, and in the mind, the shoes of the Bhagavad Gita on our head. So it sinks in that we can all have a prosperous spiritual journey. I think I'll end it there because Aarti is going to begin in a few minutes' time. Hare Krishna, thank you so much. Any questions or anything? Any comments? If not, then Aarti will start now. Bhagavad Gita ki, Srila Prabhupada ki, Srila Prabhupada ki.
श्री राधा गोकुल नंद की, श्री सीताराम लक्ष्मण हनुमान की, श्री गौर निताई की, श्रीला प्रभुपाद की. Hare Krishna, we're going to do the Gaura Arati, which is just mentioned on the right hand side. So if you would like to join me, please. Hare Krishna. Jaya, Jaya, Gaura Chandra, Arati ka shobha. Jaya, Jaya, Gaura Chandra, सिंहासने वदन उज्ज्वला चंद्रजीली वदन